In 1996, Kurt Russell makes a long-awaited return to the character of Snake Plissken in John Carpenter's Escape from LA. This follow-up to Escape from New York sees Plissken go on a one-man mission to a post-apocalyptic LA in order to save the president's daughter, who has fled there after taking a powerful superweapon that the president had intended to use to destroy other nations. To make sure Plissken takes the job accordingly, he has been infected with a virus that will kill him in 10 hours, leaving the disgruntled anti-hero just a minimal amount of time to go through the hellish landscape of 2013 LA and rescue the president's daughter and the superweapon, where of course lots of action and satirical oddities ensue. Not to mention surfing, in this enjoyable sequel which many claim is truly underrated. So it's time to return to the hellish world of Snake Plissken, as we explore 10 things that you didn't know about Escape from LA. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and if you don't want to grab a snack, then don't, as we check it out. Seriously, why wouldn't you want to grab a snack? Snacks are good. Number 10. An original version of the movie was scrapped. So the first Escape from LA, Escape from New York, was released in 1981, and it was an instant fan favourite. However, the sequel, Escape from LA, didn't come out until 1996, a whole 15 years later, which is quite a large gap in between movies. Well, a sequel actually had been on the cards all the way back in the 80s. 1987 to be precise, as it was being produced by the Dino De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, which at that time produced other spectacle movies like Maximum Overdrive and Evil Dead 2, and a scriptwriter called Coleman Luck was hired to write the script. However, as it turns out, Coleman Luck didn't have much, well, luck, as both John Carpenter and Kurt Russell didn't like the script and found it too campy, so this early attempt failed. And as it happened, the Dino De Laurentiis Entertainment Group became defunct a few years later. Number 9. Kurt Russell's persistence got the project back on track. So after the first production of an Escape from New York sequel collapsed, Kurt Russell didn't lose hope, as he really wanted to return as Snake Plissken, just purely because he loved playing the part so much. So he got together with John Carpenter and insisted that they make another attempt at writing a sequel, but this time they'll write it themselves in order to fit their vision. Carpenter also reached out to Deborah Hill, who he collaborated with on his earlier films, including Halloween and Escape from New York. So Carpenter, Russell, and Hill all worked on the new script together, with Escape from LA being Russell's first and only writing credit. And it's really thanks to Russell that we got a sequel. As Carpenter said, Russell's persistence allowed the movie to be made. And yeah, keep in mind that Carpenter hadn't directed a sequel before. I mean, yes, he produced Halloween 2 and 3, but this was the first and only time he sat back in the director's chair to direct a sequel to one of his movies. So he must have really liked it. Number 8. One cast member couldn't return. So with Carpenter, Hill, and Russell returning for Escape from LA, there was another big player from the original that they also wanted to return, that being Donald Pleasence, who starred in the original movie as the President. However, sadly at the time, Pleasence was really unwell, and furthermore, he declined to starring in the movie. In fact, Pleasence died before the production of Escape from LA started, which is a real shame. He was a very talented actor. So he was replaced by Cliff Robertson, who, interestingly, previously played a real-life American president, that being JFK in the 1963 movie PT-109, or is that PT-109? I don't know, I've never seen it. He also played Uncle Ben in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, so I guess there's that too. Other famous faces appear in Escape from LA, including Peter Fonda, Steve Buscemi, Bruce Campbell, Pam Grier, Stacy Keach, and Valeria Golino. According to Wikipedia, Tony Hawk claimed that he helped to work on the stunts involving the surfing scenes, and Kurt Russell lobbied for his stepdaughter, Kate Hudson, to play Utopia, the young girl who escapes her evil president father. But she ultimately didn't want to do it, as according to Kurt Russell, she didn't want to work opposite her dad. Yeah, dads can be a little embarrassing sometimes. Supposedly, Isaac Hayes wanted to return as the son of his Duke character from the first movie, but Carpenter wasn't sold on the idea. Number 7. A Back to the Future set was recycled. So Escape from LA features a derelict theme park called Happy Kingdom. However, originally, the apocalyptic theme park was in fact going to be Disneyland, and Carpenter envisioned filming the scenes at Disneyland. At nighttime, of course. However, Disney were like, "Oh no you don't, Mickey Mouse doesn't like this." Not only did Disney deny permission to film at the theme park, but also banned the name Disneyland to be used. Maybe Escape from LA just wasn't woke enough for them, I don't know. Which is how Carpenter cheekily came up with the name Happy Kingdom, a sort of play on Disneyland's nickname of being the Magic Kingdom. I guess maybe sort of as an FU, I don't know. Interestingly enough, according to 80skids.com, the set that was used for Happy Kingdom was the Hill Valley Times Square from Back to the Future, which was filmed at Universal Studios in California. Yeah. Going by the looks of it, I guess Biff finally got his hands on the almanac after all. Number 6. Escape from LA helped Steve Buscemi direct a movie. So as mentioned, Escape from LA features a performance from a young Steve Buscemi, who played Map to the Stars Eddie. Look at him here, he looks like the Joker. Buscemi claimed that the main reason he took on the part in Escape from LA was because he needed the money to generate funds so he can write and direct his own movie, that being Trees Lodge, which came out in 1996. I've never heard of it. But if you have seen Trees Lodge and you're a fan of it, then you have Escape from LA to thank for that. But what about the big guy himself, Kurt Russell? What stipulations did he have for starring in the movie? Well, he wanted to not wear a real eye patch, but to have a see-through transparent one, as while filming that first movie he wore a real eye patch, but he found that wearing it gave him headaches. So the eye patch in Escape from LA, he could actually see out of it and, well, no more headaches. Which is good. And despite there being 15 years in between movies, you wouldn't think it, as Kurt Russell doesn't look a day older. He still looks just as physically strong and as active without any of those 15 years being present. It's weird. Number 5. The shoot led to noise complaints. As Escape from LA is set overnight, most of the filming had to be filmed at nighttime, with Carpenter describing the shoot as being months of nights. However, when filming scenes with weapons being fired in the Universal backlot, it may have been a little too loud, which actually caused the surrounding neighbours to complain. One of those being radio personality Rick Dees. So the production was told that the weapons couldn't be fired after midnight, which led a very small window of time to film those scenes. So when filming scenes where weapons were being fired, the weapons weren't actually being fired, but CGI effects were added to them to make them look like they were. And Carpenter called the situation chaos, as they were filming on a schedule. And to make matters worse, he got the flu during the shoot, which he admitted left him walking around the set like a zombie. But despite all this, Carpenter would go on to call the shoot overall fun. So there's that, I guess. Number 4. The troubled CGI effects. So it's here we get to the special effects of the movie, particularly the CGI. Something which I often think gets a fair bit of criticism. I mean, even back in the 90s, some of these effects could often look, well, you know, let's just say not up to par. Going back to 80s Kids, the Buena Vista Visual Effects Company were hired to make the special effects for Escape from LA. However, there was one big problem. They had never worked with CGI technology before. The Buena Vista Visual Effects Company was a relatively new effects division at the time, having worked on the effects for movies such as Die Hard with a Vengeance and The Phantom. But they apparently really struggled with the CGI effects for Escape from LA, which is why we get some effect shots that, Yeah. The company ceased doing special effects for more movies after Escape from LA. I'm not sure if that's because of Escape from LA or for another reason. Who knows, maybe they had such a rotten old time making Escape from LA, they were like, yeah, to hell with that. But, I don't know, I wasn't there. Number 3, alternative title. So it's here we get to the movie's poster of Escape from LA, where we see Pliskin looking all badass, and a shot of him surfing at the bottom. It looks pretty rad, and very 90s, so what's not to love? There are several variations, like this one, which has toned down on the red and made it more blue. And this one of Pliskin on a motorcycle, with a fiery red sky, which doesn't feature the movie's title, but instead it says, "Plan your escape this summer," with LA and escape being highlighted. Because, you know, Escape from LA. However, in France, the movie had a completely different title. In that part of the world, it was simply called Los Angeles 2013. Okay, I guess this makes sense as the movie is set in LA in 2013, but seriously, why the name change? What gives? Well, it actually makes sense because when the first movie was released in France, it too had an alternative title, that being New York 1997. So keeping with that tradition, in France, Escape from LA became Los Angeles 2013. Crazy, right? Number 2. It absolutely bombed in the box office. So finally, after years of waiting, fans could at last see the return of Snake Plissken, as in August 1996, Escape from LA was released. However, it wasn't exactly a joyful return, as Escape from LA was a box office disappointment, with the movie only making $25 million on a $50 million budget. So not only did it not recoup its budget, but it lost a further $25 million. Ouch! I'm sure that everyone involved didn't so much want to escape from LA, but more escape from the box office takings. To be fair though, it did make the same amount of money as Escape from New York, but that movie was still a hit because it had a much smaller budget of $6 million. The movie actually received reasonable reviews from critics. I mean, Roger Ebert gave the movie a favourable 3.5 stars out of 4. Now, some critics did feel that the movie just didn't work as an action movie, but did actually work as an oddball, kooky satire. Despite its financial failings, John Carpenter was proud of the movie, and he would go on to say that not only is Escape from LA better than Escape from New York, but it's actually 10 times better. Well, that's quite a claim. He defends this by saying it's got a lot more to it, but he would go on to admit, quote, "It didn't do what the first movie did for some reason." Something I felt is that there wasn't much advertising for Escape from LA. Well, at least not in my part of the world. I can actually remember 1996 quite well. I remember everyone talking about Independence Day and Space Jam, but I seriously can't remember anyone talking about Escape from LA. The first time I actually became aware of the movie was when I was visiting my local video store and saw a coming soon to home video poster for it. Now at that stage I hadn't even seen or heard of the first movie either, but I was struck with how badass the poster looked, as you had Kurt Russell looking all mean with his eye patch and seeing him surfing at the bottom. I thought the poster looked crazy, so I was in. So maybe there just wasn't much awareness of Escape from LA at the time. I also wonder if the movie would have fared better had it been released closer to the original. You know, strike while the hour is hot. Maybe there was just too much of a passing in time to keep interest. Bonus entry: Escape from LA was used in a trial. A stuntman called Wayne Montanio did stunt work for Escape from LA. In fact, he actually did stunt work on several movies, including K9 and Spy Hard. However, according to IMDb, yeah, everyone knows how much I love that site, he ended the life of his brother after he committed credit card fraud and his brother threatened to tell the authorities. Scenes from Escape from LA which featured the stuntman were used in a murder trial to help witnesses identify him and place him at the crime. So there you go. Escape from LA may just be a fun movie, but it couldn't stop a criminal to escape from jail, of which he was sentenced to life and he's still there now to this day. Number 1. The infamous rumour of a planned third entry getting revived into another movie. Rahahaha! Now, the word on the grapevine is John Carpenter and Kurt Russell were working on a third Escape From movie called Escape From Mars, where Snake Plissken goes intergalactic and battles supernatural monsters on Mars. However, due to the box office whimper of Escape From LA, a third movie was scrapped, but John Carpenter recycled the storyline of a third Plissken movie to make his 2001 movie Ghosts of Mars, which unfortunately would also become a box office dud. Jeez, John Carpenter just can't catch a box office break. But like Escape From LA, it would become a cult film though. It is also said that the Snake Plissken character was reworked into the Ice Cube Desolation character. However, there are those that claim that this is just a mumbo-jumbo rumour, a load of old piss. Namely, Ghost of Mars producer and Carpenter's wife Sandy King, who claimed that the rumours weren't true. But, who knows? As for Escape From LA, well, the passing of time has been kind to the movie, with it going on to gain a cult following, with some fans who find it to be even more entertaining than the first movie, and that it just didn't catch on upon its initial release. Bottom line is, Escape From LA reintroduces us to one of cinema's most celebrated badass characters. And weird special effects aside, it's a fun, switch your brain off at the door 90s action romp. The action, as well as Kurt Russell, is in fine form, and the whole spectacle of it does go all out. But to me, Escape From LA doesn't quite live up to the awesome levels of the first movie, but it is still a fun, worthy effort. Not groundbreaking, but still lots of fun. Anyway, I'm Minty, and when Kurt Russell is 90 years old, I hope they make a third entry and call it Escape From the Retirement Home. Oh, come on, it'll at least be funny. See ya!